All right, everyone, welcome into our third and final matchup of the day. This is going to be against Fusion versus vice versa. I'm Mima once again, and I'm joined here with Bones.
Yeah, super excited to be back here today. And I am just so excited for the matches that we're going to get started with. These are just such powerhouse teams today. And yeah, I mean, we have just so much in store for us. We're going to be seeing kind of just next level matches coming into this. And yeah, getting right into things, it looks like we do have our lineup all set and ready to go. So yeah, let's start that off. We're gonna be on Ever Sleeping Town today, and yeah.
Yeah, this is honestly a pretty solid team composition, although we aren't going to be able to see Coordinator and Gardener utilized later due to them being locked in first. They're definitely pretty good for our round one, especially up against our Hunter Opera Singer.
Yeah, having this comp against an opera singer, I feel like while, obviously we do see that the first officer was banned, a little bit unfortunate on that front. We do still have the mercenary, we do still have acrobat, gardener, and coordinator as well. Very, very traditional first round opera singer picks. They are a coordinator, I would say a little bit more versatile here, but Gardner especially has just come in handy over and over again against the opera singer. She does have the rechargeable bubble. She starts off with a shield as well, so it makes her an even more difficult first chase. And yeah, it's really going to work here for vice versa. Just going with just a very traditional setup here against the opera singer. I feel like setting themselves up for success. I'm interested in that Weeping Clown band though. I feel like that one has a story.
That one's personal, perhaps. I I mean, I don't blame them. I don't think I'd want to see a weeping clown, much less on Ever Sleeping. It seems like a pretty good map for him, especially with those rockets. We saw it utilized just in the last match between GNC and C3. Um, and speaking of, well, not really speaking, I'm moving on. We do have our persona webs for our survivors as well. So we're going to be having borrowed time except for coordinator, who's going to opt for Tide Turner and Broken Windows. Mercenary is also going to be bringing Tide Turner, and Gardener and Acrobat are going to opt for Broken Windows.
Yeah, very, unsurprising, but always fun to see that coordinator bringing no borrowed time, full, going for the kiting build. And also as a secondary support here, having a double tide turner is very common against an opera singer. You want to waste as much time as possible. You want to make sure that she has to stay focused on the kite. And being able to, waste tide turner is yeah, it's 20 seconds. Um, so yeah, that's an extra 20 seconds that you've bought for your team. You can catch up on decoding. This is a very pretty balanced team in terms of not having a lot of decoding debuffs. Coordinator, though, obviously does have a decoding debuff when survivors are on chair. Mercenary as well, working with a decoding debuff as a rescuer character. But Gardener and Acrobat can definitely carry the Cypher decoding progress, as well as Coordinator when somebody's not being chaired. So the more time that these survivors spend off of the chair and in containment or just, not in the way of the hunter, that's going to be just very, very valuable for them. Of course, we are also on Ever Sleeping. Opera Singer does have a lot of map control on Ever Sleeping. So it's really up to I'm you know what? I think I'm most interested coming into this match is gonna be the spawn picks because that can really, really make or break the strategy going into this.
Absolutely. And with a map like Ever Sleeping, the layout of the spawn selections is a little bit unique in terms of literally every other map. We have that graveyard sticking out. And honestly, there are just some areas that make it so if you were to select it, you really easily get cornered. But some areas are surprisingly really great in terms of transitioning over to better areas.
Yeah, I feel like they could opt to I feel like maybe Gardner in center here would be a pretty good option because she's not an easy first chase. She does have that bubble to contend with. Of course, that does also feed presence, but it wastes time. She has that bubble for 50 seconds. A lot of the time, hunters either can't wait out the bubble, they need to get presence, or they wait out the bubble. That's a free 50-second first chase without getting hit. So, it's a lot. I would say if vice versa is able to kind of maneuver and force Opera Singer to chase, chase the maybe not Coordinator first. You do only have that gun, but Coordinator does
Mhm.
have broken windows here. So yeah, it's very, I feel like this is something that's just going to continue happening through the duration of this match, just over and over. It's either or. They're checkmating each other. Just right out the gate. So yeah, getting into the spawn picks here, it looks like we are going to have Mercenary spawn in center here, kind of looking for that plus formation. We've got Acrobat spawning near the exit gate. And all right, yeah, we are going to
Ooh.
complete that plus formation here.
Yeah, we're gonna have Mushin having these 3 survivors to choose from, none of which are easy targets, but it does allow for some variety in either direction you end up going.
Yeah, I honestly would be interested in seeing Mercenary take this first chase. It's a little bit of a risk, but there's not a lot that a Mercenary can do. I'm a big advocate of chasing a Rescuer first when you're able to, because it can knock, a Tide Turner off of the team. It does mean that the team can get a lot of Cypher Rush in, but without further ado here, heading into the match, Fusion hunting, vice versa surviving, and very good luck to both teams. I am Bones, this is Mima, and let's get right into this first chase.
Alright, so we are going to have Opera Singer go straight down the middle, but it does seem like we are closest to Coordinator here. We aren't going to catch sight of anyone quite yet. And it looks like Gardener has started up a Cypher.
Yeah, taking a bit of a way around here, but it looks like we are catching Coordinator a little off guard. Looking to rotate into that area, but changing targets once again. It looks like we might be seeking out that Mercenary. Or
Whoa.
at least trying to force him away from this Cypher. We're changing targets quite a bit here.
Oh
and
my
not quite
goodness.
able to dodge the gun. That was so close.
That was, oh my goodness, it did buy a lot of time for this Coordinator to get ahead, but we are going to be seeing Opera Singer, of course, catch up pretty quickly. That was a really great gun though, even though we saw a little bit of a dodge right there with the chair.
Yeah, I feel like the dodge also did kind of set Opera Singer back a little bit, but getting our first hit in here right through that pallet, just utilizing the full extent of that Opera Singer hitbox. Very, very fast, but it's wide at that one particular area, but not in that area, unfortunately. Going to miss the Terror Shock, but with a blink, that is going to be our first down. It looks like Cyphers are coming along fairly healthily, although Mercenary did have to transition out of where he spawned in that center area, so that did kind of put a damper on things. But first 2 Cyphers coming along well, and Mercenary is going to just come right in for this rescue.
Alright, so it does look like we are going to be having Mercenary move in. This pallet is broken over at this little shack area, but Mercenary is moving in, and we're going to see... Oh! We're going to see Mercenary get hit here, and it does buy some time for Coordinator to move over to the corner over here.
Yeah, Coordinator really putting that Speed Demon username to use here with that broken windows. Oh, and it looks like Opera Singer actually getting a little bit stuck there. Accidentally dashing into the same shadow does send the cooldown into effect. And that is, unfortunately, Coordinator not quite able to get as far out of the area as possible. But, that was a pretty important trip there. And we are going to be able to get that pallet down in time. Coordinator doing such a great job just keeping distance away from this Opera Singer.
Yeah, that was a quite literally tight situation with the tram, but Coordinator's vault speed has really gone to show like how reliable she is with getting these vaults through. We are going to see Coordinator go down, and we do have one last chair for this Coordinator. Cypher progress isn't looking too bad, although it does appear that Coordinator is going to get put in the same chair, which Mercenary is unfortunately decoding at.
Yeah, Mercenary, this match keeps getting forced off those Cyphers, which is, it's just a little bit unfortunate, that Coordinator wasn't able to get fully out of that area. But, keeping an eye on these Cyphers is hugely important for Opera Singer. So, yeah, you do want to chair closer to a Cypher that's being decoded. One Cypher remaining here, though, and it looks like Acrobat's going to come in for the rescue. No Tide Turner in effect, though. Coordinator was the other Tide on the team. But... looks like moving out to try and bait the rescue. And that is going to go off.
Oh, we aren't quite going to get that walkway blockage or that red bomb, but Coordinator is moving over, and so is Gardener.
Gardner trying to come in for the support here, trying to help Coordinator survive to the Cypher Pop. The more survivors they have alive at the Cypher Pop, the higher their chances of getting more escapes. But Opera Singer knows this, doubling back towards the Cypher that Mercenary is decoding here. We do still have 3 elbow pads, so Merc can keep a pretty good distance away. But, of course, Mercenary on the last Cypher here, do you want to stay chasing the Mercenary? Or, these survivors are going to be healing up, but they can also just go ahead and start another Cypher on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. With this sort of pressure, I definitely see why they opted for a healing party. And excellent elbow pad away from that hit. But we are going to see Mercenary eat one over at the corner house and go down shortly.
Yeah, unfortunately not quite able to get that last elbow pad in. However, very good on Mercenary for turning those elbow pads off the moment it became clear that Opera Singer was too close. Also unfortunate that Basement is here, but we do have a Coordinator with Tide, obviously without a gun. But with that Tide turner, we might actually be able to make it out of Basement here. Coordinator is just going to have to be very careful not to get double hit, considering that she doesn't have...
Teleport. I was wondering if they would let that Coordinator go, considering she's dead on chair, but with this sort of intense pressure, we're going to see Opera Singer move in towards the middle area. Coordinator, it's going to be Gardner going for the rescue, but Coordinator is potentially our next target for the Opera Singer here.
Yeah, Vice Versa survivors are just doing such a good job of keeping this Opera Singer occupied. The strategy against an Opera Singer is to just force her to overextend, and we're watching Mushin just have to go back and forth across the map over and over again. We're going to see the Shadow Dance go into cooldown there, unfortunately not quite teleporting back as far as Mushin may have hoped, but heading back onto the Mercenary, we're going to see Acrobat is busy decoding that final Cypher.
Oh, and we did use the final elbow pad that this Mercenary had as well. We're going to commit to this chase right here, but Terror Shock!
Nicely done there. Mercenary just not quite able to vault in time. This is going to be, this is going to be his second chair. Yes, I believe he was rescued before half unless.
We're going to chair right beside the Cypher. I believe that the chair that Mercenary fell upon was broken, but of course it is a pretty aggressive move to chair right beside the last Cypher. We're going to see that last rescue go in, and Gardner is not quite going to block here, but we're going to see a pop.
Nicely done there. We're going to have a 4-man endgame here for Vice Versa survivors. Of course, we are very, very close to the gate. Coordinator, unfortunately, getting a little bit caught out here. She has a syringe, but, obviously that is not quite enough to chase with. And wow, nicely timed there on that Terror Shock. It looks like we do have survivors at the opposite gate, though. Yeah, Mercenary decoding the opposite gate.
If a teleport.
Yeah, we are going to see that teleport come in. Gate not quite open just yet. Mercenary.
It's unfortunate because both the Coordinator and the Mercenary are dead on chair. So, unfortunately, we are going to get Terror Shocked here.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there for the Mercenary getting caught injured here. He could take a detention hit if he had been at full health, but unfortunately it's not going to be the case. We do have the remaining 2 survivors, Acrobat and Gardner, over at the other exit gate. Only at 40%.
That's the weakness of the Acrobat. It's unfortunate because getting off the gate, the Gardner can use the recall. It does look like we're going to attempt. Oh my goodness, we are going to see that recall, but Acrobat is going to get hit.
Just in time there on that ball. That is so unfortunate here. If Acrobat had been able to get that vault in play, are we having ping issues there? Or, okay, well, I guess it's not going to, yeah, I guess that's fine. But, wow, what an end game there.
No, that was a huge comeback on Mushin's end. Congratulations to both teams. That was a really tough call. Even having just like all 4 survivors up at the end game, it didn't negate the fact that 2 of them were at risk of getting eliminated and sent back to the manor. And of course, the gate situation. It's always so tough when it's both the Acrobat and Gardner. She can definitely help out in terms of the recall, especially with having the other person decode, but when the other person is the Acrobat with a gate decoding debuff, it's not so much as possible.
Yeah, that was just a series of unfortunate events there in that end game for vice versa. But the amount of coordination that they had in the early game, that was definitely something to speak for. However, when you have that good of coordination in the early game, you need to keep it through the remainder of the match. And yeah, all of the survivors kind of being clustered at each gate, just it didn't work out. Teleport was up and Mushin did take full advantage of that. So yeah, I mean, it really goes to show, you can never call a match until it's over. Having a four-man endgame get reduced to a three-man elimination is, just very, very impressive there. And I mean, I guess the power of detention as well.
Yeah, and I think that is the beauty of this game in general. I definitely agree with you, Bones, in the sense that we can't just call the shots or end all be all because it's such a fast-paced game and it's really intense when we get to see people catch up from the other faction. Even when odds are in favor of one or the other, it's nice to be able to still be at the edge of your seat and be unsure of the outcome or be surprised by the outcome because there's just so much that can happen in such a small amount of time.
Yeah, just so impressive there. I do, I want to see a little. Oh, actually, we're gonna get into match, so I will put a pin in that topic and get right into the band picks here. Yeah, we'll plenty of filler to talk about eventually, but getting into things, looks like our first two bands are going to be Coordinator as well as Priestess. So Priestess, you do not want to see a Priestess in Never Sleeping Town. It's a little bit of a playground for her. But Coordinator, I'm a little bit interested by. I mean, she does have, obviously, as we just saw, she has a lot of kiting potential. But,
Mhm.
when all you have is the gun, all you have is the gun. So I'm interested to see that Coordinator ban.
Same. But it does look like we are going to be seeing the Gardener and Novelist as our first two Survivor lock-ins. I'm definitely eager to see some Novelist gameplay, um, especially with his rework. He's become such a fun character to play and also watch. I'm hoping to
Yeah.
see some intense mind games like we have prior. Same with Gardener here. I'm hoping to see some more recall action. We saw a little bit of that in the previous match, but if she ends up being our first kite, there is still a lot of wiggle room, especially since you spawn in with that recall bubble.
Yeah, I am so excited to see that novelist coming out here. I'm actually remembering, way back to an old tournament that I commentated for. Fusion was one of the very first teams to want to play the novelist. And it was in round one. It was in round one against an opera singer. So I'm looking at this and I'm getting flashbacks and I'm scared of that novelist because we have seen, in Call of the Abyss this year, we have seen so many just insane novelist kites. He has essentially just a rechargeable 1 second stun plus a speed boost. So like his kit seems very, very simple, but he is such a versatile kiter. I'm very excited to see, especially with okay, yeah, we are gonna have the first officer ban as well as the wildling lock. So they are looking for that as their rescuer. But the kiting potential of this team and the potential to waste time, because once again, the greatest asset against an opera singer is the ability to waste time. And already, it's very difficult to have a first chase with a gardener. Novelist has a ton of kiting potential, and Wildling Boar.
Bore. Enough
Wildling
said.
Boar.
End of story.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be such a pain. I anticipate seeing some drop downs in terms of having survivors ballooned, not just the wildling, but the gardener as well. If we stay on top of dismantling these chairs on a map like Ever Sleeping, there's so many areas where the chairs are a bit clumped together, and not just chairs, but ciphers. If you are keeping track of your cipher progress as well as balancing that out when it comes to dismantling chairs, it can really close off areas or force the hunter into a bit of an inconvenience when it comes to repairing them. And it does also affect the chair cooltime as well.
That's true. I always forget about that little add-on. It's 10 or 15% added to the chair time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's small, but it's definitely a significant amount. I would really like to see more Gardner chair breaking. I feel like it's kind of an underrated part of her kit. She is like primarily used for the bubble, but I want to see more chair breaking 'Cause you know, you're very, very right. That can really affect a game, especially if the survivors, you know, kind of play into that, bring max struggle speed or at least some points in struggle speed. That can be absolutely huge for the trajectory of a game.
Absolutely. So for our fourth and final bans and picks, we are going to be taking Antiquarian off the table. But in exchange for that, we are going to be locking in with Psychologist.
Yeah, psychologist here as well. Again, we're locking in these characters that are just, you know, maybe, you know, with psychologist, she doesn't have much addition to her kiting potential. She does take 3 hits though, and that's exactly where, you know, that time wasting potential comes in automatically with psychologist. Unless you're able to get a terror shock off, you have to take 3 hits, and even then, if she's terror shocked while the shield is still up, she automatically heals the moment she's taken off chair, as long as she's rescued without tide turner. So it is a little bit situational in that sense. But, you know, all of these characters are set to waste time, and if we are gonna be looking at an opera singer, which, wow, I am beautifully on cue with that one. Um, yeah, if now that we are looking at an opera singer, I should say, wasting time here is absolutely the name of the game, and these survivors are coming equipped to do that.
Absolutely. And honestly, with a team composition like this, if I was the opera singer, I wouldn't know who to chase first. You have a lot of characters, like you have Gardener and Novelist who start off with the bubble and then being able to do a whole switch of real. We have the Wildling and his boar, of course, and of course the Psychologist has that stress bubble, able to take more damage than the rest of the team. Well, she and Gardener, they can definitely eat a few more hits.
Mhm. Yeah, Wildling as well in a sense. I mean, he can take hits on the boar. Obviously, it
That's true.
doesn't invoke attack recovery, but, you know, he does serve as at the very least, he can body block with the boar, which is still incredibly valuable here. I think best first chase would be even with, you know, the multiple hit taking potential, I would say Gardener and Psychologist, because at the very least, you're not getting run in circles by a novelist.
Oh, that's true, and you get more presence out of those extra hits as well.
Yep. Yeah, getting presence here is definitely important. Opera Singer's not necessarily a presence-based hunter, but she gains a lot more movement potential with her additional presence. She gains more kind of time on the shadow clones, I guess.
Mhm.
The shadows, I suppose. She also unlocks the ability to throw her cape and gain more areas to dash through. It's less so her damage potential as much as her mobility that becomes unlocked with presence, which is absolutely huge when it comes to,
True.
you know, just maneuvering the opera singer is a game unto itself. So, yeah, very
Mhm.
excited to see, you know, kind of
Ooh.
how these teams lock against each other.
Yeah, and speaking of these teams, it does look like we are seeing our persona webs. We're going to have both the Wildling and Gardener bring Tide, but Gardener is not going to be opting for Borrowed Time. We're going to instead opt for Broken Windows, much like the Psychologist, who is also going to bring Borrowed Time, Broken Windows, and our Novelist here is going to be bringing Borrowed Time and Flywheel Effect.
Yeah, very excited to see the um flywheel coming through on that novelist. Novelist is one of those characters who does play very, very close to the hunter, does enjoy having that flywheel on his side in order to, you know, just stay right out of the way, but still in close enough range to make eye contact with the hunter and just gather more of those books. So yeah, getting into spawn points here, it looks like we're going to have Wildling spawning in the center, Psychologist in the center house. We're going to have Gardener spawning at Fake Gate and Novelist spawning over near the graveyard at that dungeon spawn. And yeah, it does actually look like we're in good position to go for either Gardener or Psychologist here for the first chase. Maybe a little bit more difficult to get Psychologist, especially since you
Mhm.
will be spawning in prime position to loop that center house. But, you know, looping against an opera singer, you do have the shadow dance to kind of work around. So it'll really be a battle of mind games coming into this match, but I am very excited to see how it turns out.
Same here, and we're moving in fast into the second half of round one with our fusion survivors up against the vice versa hunter. Good luck to both teams.
Yeah, I'm loading in here. Looks like, yeah, it looks like we are going to head for the center of the map here towards a little bit, actually towards the wildling. It looks like we might be trying to force out that boar early on, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Opera
Mhm.
Singer just changing directions immediately and heading towards Novelist. Feels like a trap here set by Fusion that Opera Singer has just dashed right into. And already we're going to see that
Oh
swap
my
go through.
goodness!
Gorgeous! Beautiful pallet stone on that. That's exact. I was, right on the money with that swap. Just beautiful work there from the novelist. And already you can see we're charging that second swap here.
Yeah, we're nearly there. We're moving over to the corner house. Oh, watch out here. We're going to see another switcheroo, but Novelist is going to double back over to the gate area. We're going to take one hit here, but we're going to go back to the corner house.
Yeah, it looks like we are looking to loop the corner house here, not wanting to get caught.
My goodness, we are not going to get a blink through these barrels over here. We did end up having to break the pallet, and our Novelist is gaining another one of those books. Cypher progress is
book
looking
is
good.
almost up.
Oh,
Wow.
excellent flywheel and switch.
Yeah,
I
and
feel
this
like we
really
both
is
switched
the
back and
game.
forth. Oh,
Yeah, the game of the novelist here is just staying out of the way as fast as possible. Novelist, unfortunately, is going to go down. I don't think I saw... Yeah, Basement is not here, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for Novelist, less fortunately for our opera singer here. But just such an amazing first containment there. That, yeah, I mean, the trick with Novelist is just staying that much out of the way of the hunter, and with Opera Singer's hitbox, that becomes even easier to do. So it's really not a surprise that Novelist has kind of emerged as his Opera Singer counter, but Wildling coming in for the rescue here is going to take 2 hits on that boar, so Opera Singer will be reaching full presence here with a hit, unfortunately, on the Novelist. Wildling unable to body block for that rescue.
that was a bit of a tricky moment. Although we were able to get the rescue after half, on the bright side, it does set up Wildling for another possible rescue, especially with these 2 ciphers remaining. I do believe that the Gardener has tied, but if we have them commit to... Oh, it does look like we're going to see Gardener dismantling the chair outside the corner house here. Of course, there is still another one, that previous chair that Novelist was put in, but it's nice to see some Gardener dismantling action.
Yeah, it was a little bit stressful there with Opera Singer getting stuck for a moment. Novelist, fortunately, not struggling free. That would have been absolutely detrimental there. But yeah, I am very excited to see if that broken chair ends up playing a part in this end game. Looks like Gardner trying to come in for this rescue, but waiting. I think we're going to be waiting for at least this Cypher to be mostly primed. Yeah, it looks like we're at 1 Cypher remaining now. Wasting as much time on this rescue as we can. Coming in with a Tide Turner, and Gardner getting hit by the train, able to body block.
Oh my goodness.
Just absolutely incredible series of plays here. Novelist flywheeling through that hit and getting another pallet stun.
Are we gonna see a pop? Not quite. Oh.
Yeah, Cypher at 48%, it looks like. Wildling on the Cypher here is going to take quite a bit of time, but with Gardner here to body block, they do have that time to waste. Gardner is just going to go ahead and take the hit. Psychologist coming in for support as well, trying to block the Opera Singer in.
Oh my goodness, this Gardener needs to watch out because oh, excellent hit with the recall. Oh my goodness. Again, like Green has to be really careful because he doesn't have borrowed time, but it does look like we're gonna get a teleport in on the Wildling. Oh, and we're gonna switch back. Oh my goodness, the Novelist is gonna go down here.
Yeah, they're going to, looks like, just try to play around this pallet, force Opera Singer to hit all of them. Trying to go for the force heal here is risky, but Wildling with that Cypher at 90+%. We've got the Terror Shock here, but the Cypher pop!
Excellent situation to be in. We are at a 4-man up. Oh goodness! Oh my goodness! Another switcheroo into the pallet stun by the Novelist here.
Wow, just absolutely insane knowledge of both the Novelist and the amount of space that the Opera Singer needs to be in that pallet to get the pallet stun. So just beautiful, just finessed work there. Looks like, unfortunately, Novelist is going to be seeing that chair here, but with the exit gates nearly open, yeah, teleport is not up here, and that is going to be a 3-man escape here for Fusion. With, yeah, that is going to be a pretty decisive victory for Fusion on the first round.
Yes,
Just
congratulations to
wow.
Fusion. That was really, really well played by both Fusion and vice versa. Um I'm still on the edge of my seat. That was such an intense match. It goes for the both of the teams as well, both halves of this round one. I'm so glad that we can close this round one with such intense matchups. I know we often see the opera singer, but um the absolute variety in this gameplay and how everything panned out was just such a fun watch.
Yeah, and I mean, that really is just the power of the novelist, and I mean, I feel guilty almost for manifesting that, saying, the novelist is a trap and then opera singer just, falling right into it. He is unassuming though, and that is the thing. You sit there, you look at the novelist, you go, all he has is his book. What's he going to do?
Pallet's done apparently.
Pellets. Yeah. Just
I
but, like, even then, it's so difficult to actually catch an opera singer in that palette. Her legs are very, very skinny. She has a weird palette hitbox. A lot of the times you'll
Mhm.
drop a palette, it looks like she's in it, she's not there. So just knowing exactly where to swap in order to get the opera singer inside that palette, just knowledge of the character here is really what's showing through. And yeah, just an incredible match to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely sets us up for even more excitement for this round two. I'm really eager to see everyone's picks, even right down to the map. I know Ever Sleeping Town is a pretty solid, pretty standard round one pick. But honestly, I'm hoping to see something more on the bigger end, especially considering some of the picks. I'm trying to like not outright say what I want in fear of jinxing it, but
Yeah, I mean, bigger maps are a lot of fun to watch, especially, coming out of a smaller map like this. I feel like in terms of the picks here, or in terms of the map picks here, I feel like, or it depends on who's picking the map because, if we're picking the map from Fusion's side, that they could do something crazy. They could go ahead and pick Sacred Heart Hospital, try and favor their survivors coming into this round, and, work towards closing it out that fast. Because Sacred Heart Hospital, I would say, it's a risky map to go on. It's a very, very risky map to pick because it's very weak for hunters. It's very disproportionately strong for the survivor side.
Mhm.
But taking a risk like that, it can really, really pay off.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Can you say
They
something?
could definitely go sacred. I feel like it's a good if we're gonna take opera singer off the table, it makes room for picks like Fool's Gold. I feel like
Ah,
even though it is a stronger map for survivors, considering how much terrain there is, there's a lot of things that you can do with that unstable ground and your magnetic rocks. And the ciphers are quite close together in the sense that you can pressure the decoder, but everyone decoding.
yeah.
But
Okay,
of
I
course,
did
it's
get
just an
confirmation.
option.
I did get confirmation that Fusion is picking the map. Now, if Fusion picks Sacred Heart Hospital, Mushin does play Fool's Gold. So I
Yep.
feel like, even if you won't jinx it, I will go ahead and jinx it so that we can all blame me at the end if this doesn't pan out the way we think it will. But you know
Oh
what
my
that
god!
is? I
That is
think I think we might be onto something here. That is Sacred Heart Hospital. Fusion is going to go ahead and take that risk, but with Fool's Gold on the table, is it that much of a risk?
I'm waiting with bated breath, like, "Please don't take this away from me." Like, I hate to be pathetic, but
I really In this situation, I really wouldn't be surprised if Vice Versa Survivors decide to go ahead and ban Fool's Gold. But yeah, first two, oh no, those are the global bans. Yeah, global
Mhm.
bans are going to be Coordinator and Gardener. I feel like for our first two bans here, oh,
No opera singer ban. Oh my goodness. Things are going my way. Sorry, I know I'm, like, totally setting us up for a jinx, but it does look like we're going to be having our survivors locked in once we have those bans going through.
Yeah, tentative.
I believe it was the um if it's okay for me to say it, it's going to be the
There we go.
there we go. Okay, Antiquarian and the Priestess. Definitely some solid choices to take off the table. Sacred Heart Hospital is an infamous Priestess playground.
And antiquarian as well, especially if we are working with a fool's gold here, you want to be able to go close to the walls without immediately getting smacked into them and losing your ability to attack. So, yeah, antiquarian here, obviously a very multi-purpose strong character, but on a map that has so many walls and possibly playing a hunter that needs those walls to maneuver around, Antiquarian's a really, really valuable ban in this situation. And for our third pick here, we are going to see that first officer. Um,
Yes.
Definitely a very, very strong pick. If I feel like maybe we are putting a little bit too much money on this fool's gold pick, but just in general here, first officer is a very good rescuer, especially against chip damage hunters in general.
Mhm.
So, even in the event that we don't have a fool's gold pick, first officer, always a very good rescuer. He does kind of, take that delayed damage very, very well. So, yeah, excited to see the first officer pick coming through. And Explorer is going to be our final ban. Really not wanting to see kind of that late game Cypher Rush come into play. And for our final pick, we are going to see the Cheerleader.
Yeah, really great stuff. I definitely think that this is a really fun team composition to work with. And considering the map, it's a really fun map to be able to utilize both cheerleader and acrobat, especially. And of course, having lawyer into play does make for some pretty good rotation opportunities to set them off good early game.
Yeah, with the rotation here, I feel like they can very much take advantage of that. Because once again, we are looking at a map that is deeply, deeply survivor sided. So having these survivors that have such good chase potential, less so on the first officer, but he does waste quite a bit of time with those pocket watches. We have cheerleader as well with the dashes. Cheerleader can also reset the skills. I can she reset acrobat bombs?
It
She
depends
can.
on it. I think it depends on if you have them.
That's
Like I
true.
know you have a
Yeah.
couple, but
So if you have another bomb queued up, she could reset the cooldown on that.
mhm.
That makes sense. Yeah. But she can reset first officer's pocket watches. So, if we do end up going for first officer for a chase, even if just to, mess with their minds a little bit, first
For sure.
officer can have, can just waste so much time, infinite pocket watch there with the cheerleader support. So, yeah. And it looks like we did, in fact, put a little bit too much money on that fool's gold pick. We are going to see Geisha come out.
Okay. It's fine. I
I'm
mean,
very
I
sorry.
am no, it's okay. Well, Mushin is very, very well known for his geisha. It's a really, really formidable hunter for him. And we did see some geisha in play yesterday as well. And honestly, even though the map is Sacred Heart Hospital, it does make for a pretty good map choice for her as well. Knowing Mushin, we're probably going to be seeing some unexpected dashes even through the walls.
Yeah, I feel like in that same sense though, Sacred Heart with Geisha is a little bit of a risk now, that does
Mhm.
kind of contend on the survivors staying within their kiting areas, not being forced out of them. And I mean, Geisha can definitely throw butterflies in order to loop some of those areas, but if the survivors are able to go ahead and lock her in with the ruins, lock her in the shack, there's a lot of areas and a lot of transitional kiting potential with these characters that can really, really just hinder the geisha because she thrives in open areas and she thrives when survivors are not, you know, a good distance away from her. All of these survivors, even Acrobat, he plays very close, similarly to Novelist, but as long as you're just an inch away, that's about the size of Geisha's hitbox. So you can really, really kind of play with fire there, especially on a map that is working in your advantage. So yeah, once again, playing chess with these sort of ban picks, map picks, everything. Variables are all coming together.
That's right. And let's have a look at these persona webs here. It looks like Lawyer is going to be opting for 912. That's going to be Flywheel as well as Broken Windows. Acrobat is going to opt for Borrowed Time and Flywheel. Everyone else is going to be bringing Borrowed Time, save for the Lawyer, and Cheerleader will opt for Broken Windows. And of course, First Officer bringing our Tide.
Yeah, very very traditional persona web picks here. I'm excited to see that Lawyer here. Yeah, vice versa, really taking into consideration that the Lawyer is probably the most vulnerable character on this team. You know, kind of outfitting him, you know, get the speed boost off the window. He's already fast with his map speed boost as well, or using the map speed boost, I should say, not the map itself. So, yeah, Lawyer, you know, definitely being given a lot of safety here as well with that center spawn. We're going to see Mushin spawn near the first officer. Now, once again, we could see first officer take this first chase. It's going to be a bit of a time waster. First officer also has a much longer chair time. I would say the strategy here is going to be to try and bait out first officer's pocket watch, make him waste the item, and then change to another target, change to Acrobat, change to Lawyer, you know, try to find somebody else that's a little bit easier to kite. But getting into this round 2 first half here, Fusion is hunting, vice versa is surviving, and once again, good luck to both teams.
All right, so it does look like Mission is moving over towards the birdcage area. We are, maybe, possibly. No, we're not. We're not going to go for the first officer here.
Yeah, changing away from the first officer, not wanting to commit too hard because these survivors are already rotating into position. It looks like we're actually going to head for Cheerleader here. Now, Cheerleader is in the ruins here. Very strong kiting area potential. But is she going to be able to take advantage of it? We will see. Now, a beautiful dash there. And unfortunately, Cheerleader not able to get out of the way in time is going to take a very early hit there. Now, she does have, looks like both dashes are queued up, so she can break a lot of distance out of this area. And yep, we are going to see that first dash come into play.
We are going to see a pallet drop here, and Cheerleader is going to utilize the last of her Motivate to get that speed boost and get through to this pallet right here. But Mushin is going to be able to Terror Shock. Ooh.
The precision on these butterflies just to get around the pallet is just incredible there. You know, Geisha is kind of famous for her ability to get stuck in pallets. So, you know, kind of being conscious of that is very, very kind of essential to this match. But we are going to go ahead and camp this chair. It looks like we have a rescuer approaching. And that looks like, that is Acrobat, actually. That is not First Officer. So First Officer is going to stay on the Cypher. Acrobat coming in for this rescue. Does not have Tide Turner. Oh, we're going to miss the blink there.
Unfortunately, Cheerleader is going to get farmed off the chair, but Acrobat is able to get out of the area before sustaining any damage.
Yeah, no damage rescue here is going to be very crucial, especially heading into endgame. You do want to kind of not have as much damage as possible. So yeah, very good on Acrobat for not taking that second hit there. Cheerleader can just kind of sit on chair here for a minute. It looks like they might be considering not going for this rescue, which honestly, keeping Geisha at the chair here is, you know, they need that to recover their Cypher Rush in this situation. So looks like,
yeah, just as Bones said, we're unfortunately going to see Cheerleader get sent back to the manor. But Mushin, wasting no time, is going to look for his next target.
Yeah, heading on to around where Lawyer is, but it looks like we have, in fact, caught sight of him. Yeah, unfortunately, Lawyer in that white shirt, not quite able to hide for as long as he may have hoped.
Nice
Beautiful fly right through the pallet, though.
Oh,
what?
Very interesting to see that pallet not quite connect for a stun. We are going to see Lawyer get downed right here after getting hit through that, unfortunately, not pallet stun.
Yeah, that was, you know, I spent so much time talking about how finicky pallet stuns can be last match that I feel like that was almost inevitable here to see that kind of happen again. Geisha just being a little bit too skinny to fit in that pallet box. First Officer, though, does have both pocket watches and still has Tide Turner to waste a lot of time here, but Acrobat's gonna be the only one left decoding in this situation, and we still have 3 ciphers remaining, so there's a lot of ground.
Oh,
Actually, no, Acrobat coming in for a backdoor rescue is gonna take the hit, but no one's decoding right now, so they really need to kind of reset, regroup, get back to those ciphers if we're gonna see an endgame here.
that's right. And it looks like our acrobat is going to be our next target. They really need to watch out for this dash here, but unfortunately, we're going to
Oh!
get downed.
Yeah, the timing here on those bombs is just so crucial. And it's kind of deceptive as well. You know, you do kind of tend to see that with acrobats. It's not the same timing as a flywheel. So it's very finicky, you know, whether or not you will get hit out of that bomb. Unfortunately, acrobat just falling victim to that. First officer, though, does still have tide turner, but we're going to see a teleport here, so that tide turner is not going to go to use. Even without that terror shock of the lawyer, we are still going to get that hit through. And yeah, it's just the fact that Tide Turner here isn't even going to be able to come in handy.
No, but we're getting chaired right beside this old cipher here. Lucian, again, wasting no time to get back into the area that the acrobat and first officer in. First officer is also right on duty going in for our next chair rescue. We're utilizing that last pocket watch here.
Yup, and oh! That's okay. Apparently, if Geisha is above the pocket watch, it does not, in fact, delay the image. That's something that I learned today. But beautiful once again on that flywheel from the lawyer. Unfortunately, is gonna get caught on that vault here. So yeah, I mean, just great work here from Geisha, keeping these survivors on their toes.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, cheerleader did
Trail behind.
Oh. Great dash through.
Yeah, going right through that wall there. Acrobat staying on the other side. Oh, unfortunately, Geisha not able to take the opportunity for that hit.
Oh.
Oh, beautiful flywheel there.
Oh, unfortunately, we're going to go down here. But yeah, that was really fun utilization of the flywheel as well as the red bomb.
Yeah, first officer kind of heading out into the open a little bit. We're going to see if Geisha's able to catch sight. But looking for the ciphers here, yeah, we do have 2 ciphers remaining. Now, it is going to be very difficult to decode those last 2 ciphers, but it's still important to monitor them, make sure that the survivors aren't going to be trying to sneak in any decoding. And on a map like Sacred Heart Hospital, when you get to this end game, you know, it is a very survivor-sided map. There are a lot of very strong kiting areas, but it's a relatively small map. It's almost a deceptively small map. There's very, you know, you can take this loop around the hospital, monitor all of the ciphers at once, and that is exactly what we're seeing here in this endgame. And with the movement versatility of the Geisha, Mushin just taking full advantage of that to patrol the entire map.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, we're gonna check the very far corner here. Oh, and we're gonna offer a teleport over at the T corner, just where dungeon is as well.
Yeah,
right,
first
so
officer.
see a decoy utilized by the first officer here.
Yeah, nicely done waiting out that decoy as well. That is kind of the advantage of the Geisha. You don't have to go ahead and try and chase the decoy user first. You could just wait it out and then dash to catch up. That's exactly what we're going to do here. Looking for a dash into Birdcage, it looks like, but oh, are we?
Oh, we're gonna
pull
see
this off. Nicely done
incredible
there.
dash into like surpassing the pallet and getting onto those stairs right there makes a huge difference in gaining back that distance. We are going to be at 1 cipher remaining. Yarrow is able to pop the cipher over at the Shack Ruins here, but it does look like he's still in the area and Mushin is going to commit to chasing him once again.
Yep, once again, we are seeing just a little bit of that trail right at the corner of that wall.
No.
And Geisha zeroing in on the Acrobat's location. Acrobat does have one last firebomb to use. Unfortunately, Geisha able to circumvent it, so she still has access to all of her butterflies. And... Ooh! Yeah, first officer... First officer, unfortunately, not able to pop any cipher in time. So we are going to be heading into the latter half of this slug game. Right now, we're looking at a 4-man elimination as long as Geisha is able to find First Officer. But First Officer doing a very good job just staying away, staying out of tinnitus range here.
Oh, we're gonna see a teleport over to the Acrobat. Oh, it doesn't look like this older cipher was able to be popped, so Pretty unfortunate in that regard. Oh, but we are going to catch the tinnitus from the first officer, as well as,
Yep.
oh, not quite the trail. No, we're not going to see that trail quite yet. And first officer is able to make a lot of distance.
Yeah, it almost looks like we're looking for an explorer here, checking the corners, looking at the shadows, trying to see where he's popping out. Unfortunately, we are looking for a first officer, and first officer still just staying out of the way here, which, it's commendable as well because once you get within tinnitus range, you can you
Oh my
oh,
goodness! Oh, we're gonna get a slow vault over in the birdcage pallet and a terror shock vaulting back. This
yeah,
is
that
going to
is going to
be
be that
a
four-man
four-man
elimination.
elimination on vice versa. Congratulations to Fusion.
Yeah, and we really are just seeing, the strength of Mushin as a hunter, and it's the way that Mushin plays is just it's very high risk, high reward. We were seeing like 2, 3 target switches in the beginning of the match, trying to find, the right target. But as soon as, we lock in on that target, it's just, carnage. But it's very, very impressive to see, you know. Especially, when you're at kind of that perceived disadvantage here. You have, a very strong survivor team. You have Sacred Heart Hospital to contend with. Um, you know, and just being able to kind of overcome those odds. But yeah, just the lack of kind of pressuring those ciphers from the survivor side really did, put put a halt to that match almost.
Agreed. And it was unfortunate not to be able to get to utilize characters like the cheerleader, having eliminated her on the second chair. I definitely think that with more support, it would have um, changed the tides of the game a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like, almost a harasser might have been needed there just to like keep the pressure off of some of those chases because, a lot of the time, you do look to tight kite a geisha, but with having, full command of those butterflies, being able to just circumvent those pallets really wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
But heading into the second half here, right now, vice versa needs to get a four-man elimination just to have hope of seeing a third round. Because Fusion has a very, very decisive lead here.
That's right. And I'm definitely holding out for that third round as well. Both of these teams are just phenomenal, and it's been great to see both factions from each team go up against one another.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we aren't going to be seeing that novelist or gardener once again due to getting global banned. We're also going to opt to take opera singer off the table.
Yeah, I feel like Opera Singer, obviously Opera Singer is kind of the hunter of all hunters, but I feel like on Sacred Heart Hospital, she isn't quite as strong. So I'm interested to see that ban coming through once again here. But
I feel like
oh,
Bones has pointed it out before. Uh,
I'm actually onto something.
oh, we're gonna get a different ban, perhaps?
Yeah, it looks like that was in fact not the ban that came out here.
Oh, my apologies. So we aren't going to be getting um a ban choice quite yet. It's just from the last one, but we'll see how it goes. Um, I definitely agree with your point, Bones, and I mean you are pretty on top of keeping track of whenever any opera singer would get a little bit stuck. I feel like that's the downside of being able to traverse through terrain so fast. On a map like Sacred Heart Hospital, there's just a lot of things that you can get caught on, both as a hunter and a survivor.
Yeah, looks like we are going to be banning out that Antiquarian and Priestess once again here. So, yeah, really not wanting to have kind of that map control of the Priestess as well as the stun potential of the Antiquarian. Okay, it looks like we are going to be banning the Opera Singer after all.
All right, sounds.
Yes, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we will be banning that Opera Singer.
Okay, I was waiting for him to appear to say something. I will take any Norden at this
This
point in
is
time.
very, very funny here. The fact that I was just saying, maybe we could have used some
Harassers.
harassment support, and immediately we are seeing the batter as well as the prospector both at once here. That does kind of bait out excitement. However, these are two stunners where excitement isn't necessarily, an instant, like, I guess your instant savior, because they
Mhm.
both have stuns that are either very, very quickly rechargeable with batter, also with Prospector in some sense, or Prospector, it doesn't necessarily cancel the stun. It only delays the effect of the magnet, but the magnet remains attached to the hunter unless the excitement is very, very well timed. So, or timed
Absolutely.
while the stun is happening. So,
Yeah. And when it
yeah, a
comes to
little bit
the
to
both
contend
of
with.
these when it comes to the both of these harassers as well, um, I would say they're not as keen on as close combat as Antiquarian or Forward might be. They can keep
Mhm.
distance from the hunter that when you get that excitement popped, you can already move away farther than you were to begin with.
Yeah, it's always very fun to kind of see that harassment come into play. But with that psychologist ban, we will be seeing the patient come in. Patient, just a very, very strong kiter and can really benefit from some of the support. When you have a kiter that can, utilize dashes, coming in with a batter, coming in with the prospector makes it that much harder for the hunter to catch up because they're going to get knocked back, they're going to get dragged back into a wall. So, yeah, just making it
Mhm.
very, very difficult for the hunter to kind of maneuver here. For our final band, we will be seeing the mercenary, which does leave us open for a first officer pick. It also leaves us open to see another wildling like we did in the previous round. But yeah, I mean, it's really, I feel like almost we could go rescuer list with this comp because you are already kind of contending with a decoding debuff with the batter. And
Mhm.
yes, we will be seeing the acrobat coming in to round us off. A little bit of an unconventional lineup per se, but I think I've actually seen Fusion go this exact comp on Sacred Heart Hospital, or at least very close to it. So yeah, I feel like seeing this prospector and seeing this batter and seeing how strong of kiters, patient and acrobat both, there is so much potential here for both support and for just long containment time with these survivors alone.
Yeah, absolutely. And with their point lead here, it definitely makes some room for some more variety in the way that they play. And I wouldn't be surprised if none of them opted for Tide. Just as Bones has said, they have really high kiting potential. And not just in terms of kiting, but a lot of these guys can support one another as well.
Yeah, I almost feel like if anyone's going to be carrying Tide Turner on this team, it's going to be Patient, possibly maybe Acrobat, but harassers I would say
Oh,
are going to go Tideless. We're going to be locking in a Naiad here.
you know what? I definitely think that this is going to be a really fun watch. Um, although we do have a couple of threats on these teams in terms of harassment and extended kite potential. They're also going to have to keep watch of this abyss that the Naiad can set up. They really need to ensure that they stay at uh, good health throughout the match, lest they get snowballed by the Naiad.
Yeah, I feel like it's really going to come down to whether the Naiad can just kind of get as much of the map watered off as possible. Just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more difficult on Sacred Heart. We were kind of talking about before all of the kind of bits and bobs that are around the map. Harpoon
Mm-hmm.
can get stuck on those when the
Oh,
Naiad throws
unfortunate.
it. So we could see that come into play, kind of hampering the Naiad when she tries to water off an area. But she can also take very, very good advantage of those puddles. You can water off the entirety of the hospital, which is obviously a very good area for survivors. So being able to get that water in is also going to make it more difficult to harass. Now you do have the batter to contend with. He's a very long range stunner. He can also, counter Naiad's dash hit.
Mm-hmm.
Prospector, I believe, I don't know. The Prospector's magnet doesn't go through fast enough to cancel the dash, right?
Um,
I
You
think the
can
dash is
still
faster in most cases.
you can pull back the Naiad when she dashes. I think it makes for like a
Right.
pretty long stun, so they'll have to watch out for that. Another thing is that we talked about it in the previous half, but uh, considering how close some of these ciphers are, or the way that some of these ciphers are close to chairs, even, we could potentially be seeing a lot of these ciphers get sealed off and stunt the decoding progress. We could get
Yeah,
some
I'm
pressure to rescue as well, even if they're gonna opt for um like a save or a past half save.
Yeah, I feel like at least one of these survivors is going to be carrying Tide Turner though, just because you do
Hmm.
need a little bit more insurance on a Naiad rescue. We saw just the other day. If you
Absolutely.
missed the matches from the rest of the weekend, go back and watch them. We had some crazy Naiad action on Friday this week. So that is exactly what I'm thinking of here. Naiad is a
Hmm.
very effective stuffer of rescues, with the puddles. So that's another thing to contend with as well when it comes to this team. Are they going to be able to pull off rescues safely? How are they going to be able to pull off rescues safely? Especially without a dedicated rescuer. These survivors are very effective kiters, but they aren't particularly tanky. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, we're gonna get right into it here and have a look at these builds. I I saw green switch from no build from Tide only. So it looks like we're gonna opt out of borrow time for the patient and the batter. They're going to instead be bringing flywheel and Tide Turner for the patient and flywheel and broken windows for the batter respectively. Acrobat is gonna opt for flywheel and borrow time as well as the prospector.
Yeah, the patience build here is really fun to me. It reminds me of the builds that we've been seeing on Aeroplanus, which makes sense because Patient
Mm-hmm.
and Aeroplanus fill a very similar role. So yeah, having the flywheel just in case Patient ends up getting chased, having the Tide Turner to come in for the rescue is it's bold, but it's fun, and I feel like it's a build that will definitely, kind of serve its purpose. We are going to be spawning Naiad in that bottom corner. Batter and Acrobat are kind of in the way, but it is a Batter and it is an Acrobat. Both of these characters do have very strong kiting potential. So
Yeah,
Vice
without
Versa needs a four-man elimination here to continue the tournament. So very
yeah.
good luck to both teams. On that same vein, Fusion does only need a one-man escape. So those are our win conditions here. I am Bones, this is Mima, and we are heading into what could potentially be the final round unless Naiad is able to get a four-man elimination here.
Yeah, good luck to both teams. We're going to be moving in towards the birdcage area, and it looks like our first site target is going to be batter. Are we going to opt for this batter? We're going around and creating an abyss. Oh, and we're going to have batter get quite about halfway through in terms of the water. We're going to use up that birdcage pallet over here to transition up into the second story of hospital.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to be trying to get that hospital water, as I was kind of talking about at the start of the match here, looking to water off the area, but Batter is just going to go ahead and transition out of it. We've got the bat at the ready, but not quite able to get that stun off. It looks like the ball actually missed there, and Batter is going to take a hit.
Right, and we're going to transition over to Shaq here with Prospector in the vicinity as well. We're going to set up a magnet and...
Oh
Ooh.
no! Yeah, unfortunately, Prospector was not quite able to get that stun off, was actually pulling Naiad directly into
Yeah,
himself.
no
But
collision. But the batter
Batter
was
with the
able to
final
push
ball.
back. Oh, he really needs to watch out for the water here. And oh, excellent flywheel! Oh, we're gonna see batter go down despite the pushback, but excellent usage of the flywheel to negate that water damage.
Yeah, that just absolutely, kind of going for that play for play that I was talking about earlier. But it looks like Patient is going to be coming in for this rescue. We do have Tide Turner once again, but Naiad not quite able to water off the area in time. We are going to go into the slipstream now, heading for Batter once again. Flywheel is on cooldown, so we won't be able to see a repeat of that previous trick. Batter reaching more and more water, but stuck at 80% here, is going to go ahead and take the basic hit though.
So it seems like Prospector has since then left the shack, and we're not going to be seeing any harassment on that end. So we're gonna see Batter get picked up and get put back into the same chair. Dungeon did spawn right in front of it, so we do have some pretty good cipher progress so far.
Yeah, batter for second chair here. We do have no more tide turner remaining on the team, so that is a little bit of, not being able to waste as much time. And Patient playing very, very close here is going to go ahead and use the hook to get closer to the chair. That is going to be our first hook used. And just kind of playing around in the water here. Now, we do have flywheel, so Patient is going to be able to flywheel the water. So I would say not as worried about the water damage as he
Ooh.
probably could be. But getting a beautiful
Oh,
rescue off there and Prospector
the
support! I would say it's a little bit risky for Prospector to come into support here, but as long as he's able to make it right back to a Cypher, the coding progress shouldn't be too hindered. Nice stun there just to delay the breaking of that pallet a little bit longer. Batter trying to loop around it, and we're going to see that stun once again.
We are going to see, a flywheel over here, but we're going to see a blink, and we're going to see a down here. Prospector unfortunately has 0 magnets to work with, so we are going to be seeing Batter get sent back to the manor once put on chair. We are, however, after ciphers remaining.
Yeah, if those ciphers aren't able, to really get popped here, it really comes down to Naiad's ability to pressure these ciphers coming into the end game here. We do have 2 survivors in the area. If she's able to sniff out where Acrobat, we are going to go ahead and switch targets onto the Prospector here. Prospector has 1 magnet remaining, so just a little bit to work with there, but still definitely enough. We're going to see water coming through once again. Prospector needs to be able to avoid that for as long as possible.
So far, and we're going to see a flywheel over to the pallet.
Ooh.
We're not going to see a hit through there or a pallet stun. Really intense stuff. Now Prospector is going to utilize one of those magnets. And we're gonna see... Okay, we're gonna see a pushback, a repel from the Prospector. And it does seem like this survivor at the birdcage cipher is going to get forced off of it for a little bit. But I believe it's the patient who did end up going to the Prospector's old cipher in the shack.
Yeah, watering off that Cypher and Birdcage is very well done. Unfortunately, I feel like... Are we going to be able to return to it in time? Not quite. Prospector is going to go ahead and see that first chair here. Acrobat's going to have to come in for this rescue. But it looks like we are going to go ahead and pressure that Birdcage Cypher once again.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to leave it to Acrobat to rescue the Prospector right here. And we're gonna close off this cipher over at Birdcage. We're gonna go back to the Prospector, who does have a magnet. Good discipline in the sense that we didn't utilize it earlier. But the water damage is getting quite close. We are going to see a pop to prevent Prospector going down from the water damage.
Yeah, nicely done on that pop. Once again here, Fusion does only need 1 man escape, so they're not as afraid of taking that water damage. Unfortunate on that flywheel timing, though, from Acrobat. Acrobat not quite able to break enough distance in time and is going to take that hit, so he will be chaired here. It does look like Patient has made his way over to the other exit gate. We are looking at what could be, especially since Naiad does not have Trump card here. We are carrying Naiad with Insolence and Blink. We cannot switch to Teleport. Is that exit gate going to be open? It's at 71%. Naiad dashing over.
Prospector does have 2 magnets to work with, and we're going to utilize one right now. Oh my goodness, we're going to stun it. Oh, excellent tie.
Very, very nicely played, and that is going to be a decisive 2-round victory here for Fusion. Just, wow. Impressive match there.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. That was really fun to watch for the both of these teams.
Yeah, and I feel like it really did just come down to, the ability to pressure the map. Once again, Sacred Heart Hospital is just such a strong survivor map, and I feel like, It's a huge risk to pick that map at all, but, you really do only pick it when you know that you're able to harness it like that, and that is exactly what Fusion did. But, always, always fun to see both of these teams, and vice versa especially. But yeah, it still is a tournament. So, but thank you so, so much to both teams for coming, for bringing your all, for just performing so beautifully, and as well as to everybody who's watching as well. Thank you for coming, and joining us to watch these matches.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of love to these players who were able to compete against one another, um, especially with our uh, last few matchups over at this weekend. It's really been so great so far for logging off league. And thank you everyone for making the time, be it the players, be it the audience members, and of course the staff as well. This has really been a fun tournament so far, and I really hope you all look forward to the following weekend where we'll have the semifinals as well as the finals.
All right. Yeah, that's going to be, very, very high octane matches, I would say, coming in next weekend. So, yeah, stay tuned. And we will be seeing you again. If you want to find me on my social media platforms, I am on Twitch and YouTube at 206 Bones. Twitch is 206 Bones with two underscores because usernames. I am
Yes.
also on Twitter at Lethal Crash. I'm posting whenever this goes live. So, yeah, tournament updates there as well as a lot of talk about tournaments if that's something that you're interested in because I watch too much Koa. And where can we find you, Mima?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Mixie Malice. I have yet to change things, but I did definitely take a hiatus. The last time I was active was also in a tournament. But it's been really fun to get back into the swing of things, especially for a community like Identity 5. I definitely hope that you continue to look forward to supporting these teams. I hope you continue to support our staff and, of course, our commentators as well. And thank you so much for supporting me as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all next week. And thank you again for your time. Thanks a lot, Bones.